What's the laser code in this bottle? Anthony?
I was going to ask.
What's the laser code? That's right. What the MSRP is $50. We got this from the distillery. I don't know what the laser code is. We'll pass that to Cam. He's probably the expert on it.
Let me get my magnifying glass out.
Get your
my monocle.
Get you a pour there. Hello, and welcome everyone to episode 187 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Stephen, Anthony, and Kenny. Hello, Kenny.
What up, my man?
Well, tonight, Stephen is not with us again. We are just having some scheduling issues, but nothing that we can't handle.
Yeah.
But as luck would have it, we do have another guest host here with us tonight.
Yeah.
I actually, I'll just take a shot at this intro here. So we have Cameron Leach joining us from the YouTube whiskey world with his show that's called Drums and Drams.
There we
Is
go.
that right, sir?
Drums and Drams.
Drums and Drams. So you started that channel in
2020.
And in a few short years, you built a pretty dedicated following. What I saw is about, you got 10K followers, 350 videos, and you're approaching 1 million total plays. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so Cameron, welcome, Cameron. Woo.
Boom.
Yeah, exciting. But honest to God, man, it's nice to have you here. What brings you into town?
Yeah, so we're down here. I'm down here with the guys from River Roots, which is an NDP up in Cleveland. So we're going to taste through some barrels tomorrow. Yeah, some 15-year Kentucky bourbon.
Okay.
And so I came down a day early.
I thought you came for the Cavalon, bro.
Well, I did come
That's what I was under the impression of.
That was just an added bonus.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
No. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, dude. No, 100%. No,
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a thing. Cameron's over here tonight, not just in Lexington. He's in Lexington for their pick. But I was fortunate enough to share a lot of pours. I'll say some, but it was a lot.
It's called the Circle of Death for a reason.
Yeah, it was a lot. Up in Michigan, was that a month ago, 2 months ago? However long I'm bad with time.
Yeah.
But one of those things I shared was that pick that actually Darsh did of that Cavalon.
Right.
That's just motor oil dark. Absolute, just amazingness.
One of the most amazing things that I've tasted. I wasn't going to get one, and as soon as I tasted it, I looked at him. I was like, I changed my mind. I initially was like, no, I don't need another bottle of something.
Yeah.
Then I tasted it. I'm like, yes, I need that.
Yeah.
I need more of those.
Yeah. So, which I just found out earlier today, talking to Cam before you got here, that they actually started with Scotch.
Yeah.
And so that actual Cavalon kind of interests them as well. Just to me, it's more Irish whiskey than it is Scotch, but it's that same malted barley type of mash.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
My wife and I started all this whiskey stuff in 2019 with Scotch. So
Really?
yeah. So we're big Glendronach fans, like heavily sherried Scotches, kind of our jam. And so when I tasted that, when Kenny gave me a pour of that at the Junkies event, it was like, I don't know what I have to do, but I'll do it. So that's really why I'm here.
It's anything, right? And that's awesome. So on that note, while you're telling us, can you I guess I just kind of jumped in and introduced you and give us some of the backstory real quick. We had no planned icebreaker, nothing. We were just going to talk to you about your journey. And then we're gonna do it like a regular show. You're joining us, like you're gonna have to do the pass, try, buy, and everything.
Yeah, you got the pass, try, buy, bro.
Yeah, everything.
Cool.
So tell us about how you got going with whiskey. You just mentioned Scotch. Was that like the unofficial start, 2019 with Scotch?
Well, I started drinking whiskey a little bit before that. So I was in grad school from 2016 to 2018.
Okay.
And at the time, I was like a big craft beer guy. And I wasn't the kind of person reading the blogs. I didn't know like what was what necessarily, but I liked imperial stouts,
right.
Like barrel-aged stouts, that kind of thing. Sours as well. So I would sit on my couch in grad school and I would just drink, Woodford Reserve on the rocks. Like my last year was so stressful that like every night I found myself on the couch having whiskey and I'm like, this might be a problem, But I left there and I remember having this one experience with my teacher. So I was in music school.
Okay.
And my teacher, his name's Michael Burrett, just epic player, drummer, marimbaist, all this percussionist. And we would go out to these restaurants and stuff, and we'd look at the whiskey list, and he would always order Booker's. And
nice.
I would look at the list and like not know what any of these names meant. I'd see like Jefferson, Blanton, Booker, and I'm like, all these old dude names, like I don't know what this means.
Yeah.
And so part of like getting into this was I was so self-conscious about not knowing like what I'm going to say something, and I don't know what I'm going to taste after I say that word when I order the drink.
Right.
And I just wanted to know more. So I got into it a little bit, and then I went whole hog into Scotch. And then when COVID hit and I lost all of my touring work that I was doing.
I was just saying you lost all your taste. So that's why.
Well, I never had that to begin with.
That was the Scotch.
I think a lot
of it wasn't COVID. It was the Scotch.
Yeah, people on YouTube would say the same thing.
I'm messing with you.
But
I'm messing with you.
yeah, we went into Scotch before COVID, and then during COVID, right around the time I started the channel.
Okay.
American whiskey was a clear choice because it was cheaper. Because I had all my work was gone.
Right.
So,
oh man, so you were like touring and playing? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that sucks. Yeah, I feel bad during COVID. I mean, it screwed so many people up, and anybody who's doing any kind of live music and everything is just like,
yeah,
that's a mess.
there was a 12-hour period on I think March 11 or 12, whatever day that was.
Yeah.
Within 12 hours, I had every email in my inbox was someone canceling.
Oh my god.
And so by the end of the day, I had 0 gigs on my calendar.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You're like,
okay.
maybe we need to get the
That would
whiskey.
drive you to drink.
And then the channel was born.
Ready the whiskey, right? So when you started that channel, how did you decide on YouTube? We obviously made the very poor decision to just do a podcast and not do any YouTube. But like, I mean, take us through what that was like. Like, did you get inspired by anybody else? Were you thinking like, I don't know what you were thinking. Like, I know why we started this podcast. We started as a way to just get together as friends, talk about, bourbon that we all loved, and then just talk about it and stuff. But I mean, what was your thing like?
Yeah, I think at the time I was, again, into Scotch. So I was watching Ralphie. I was watching Whiskey.com. I was watching the Scotch Test Dummies. And I started the channel originally with the plan that it would just be purely Scotch. So if you go back and watch my first video, maybe first 2 or 3, it was it was only Scotch content.
Nice.
And shortly after that, I started watching American whiskey content. So ADHD whiskey. At the time, I love Dan and Sean, Bourbon Junkies. I love you guys. I couldn't stand their channel because I was like so serious about whiskey at that time,
right?
That I'm like, who are these goofballs? You know what I mean? And so it's funny to look back on that. And
right.
So I was trying to watch all like the serious people, even though Matt Porter, ADHD, is kind of goofy.
Yeah.
I actually got to hang with him a couple weeks ago.
Dude, he's the man.
Yeah.
He is the best. But I watched him. I watched I actually watched Jason from Mash and Drum.
Okay.
And of course, like he's a drummer, I'm a drummer. People are always like, why is your name so similar?
Oh, yeah.
I get that a lot, and it's like, I didn't know Jason existed when I started the channel.
Right.
I was a Scotch guy, and so. But anyways, back then, I was getting into a lot of American whiskey content, and I decided to switch the channel over, maybe 2 or 3 months in. So
that's cool. I'm glad you ditched Scotch because we've talked about how we. Did you ditch it altogether? Are you still?
No, I still drink it,
okay.
But like once a month at most.
Okay.
The bottles I have are 4 years old.
Once a month is plenty for that.
Come on.
I never really got a taste for Scotch. Kenny's really
I've tried
never had a taste for it.
The only ones I've had one that I liked.
Yeah.
And it evidently was a really, really, really expensive high-end bottle. Mm-hmm. It was at a bottle share up in Michigan. Actually, no, I've had it twice that I liked, but they were actually the same type of group of people. One was out in Missouri and one was up in Michigan, but it was some like 25-year-old, something like a higher-end bottle, and it tasted pretty good. But all the other stuff, it's too much. I can't.
But see, that Cavalan to me tastes like Scotch.
Like, really? To me, it doesn't, man.
Maybe we need to expand our get on the Scotch.
So on the Cavalan for me, I get some like prune raisin. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's a little bit like Irish and Armagnac kind of together a little bit, and I just don't get the Scotch as much. But maybe I just had the wrong Scotches still. Like
maybe,
like that's serious. Maybe I just had the wrong Scotch because I know they are very specific.
Yeah.
And like the actual flavor profiles are very specific to the different regions or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just might have had the wrong Scotches still.
Glendronach is because it's so sherried. Yeah. I love those sherry bomb. Like the Cavalan's probably. That's got to be a sherry cask, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, the Band-Aid stuff. I know a lot of people don't like the. Lafroigs and Lagavulins and stuff.
Yikes. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was just cheap Scotch that I was always drinking like back in the day. I think I mentioned that in an episode recently. We're talking about, whose parents didn't have a bottle like Chivas Regal sitting around or something like that. And you take a sip of that and you're just like, who could like drinking this? I remember my grandfather just like pounded Scotch and like, can you even taste that? Like, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, that's where my disdain comes from Scotch.
That's funny. I mean, and to the back to the question. Sorry, I just remember you asked why YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's because I was watching people do it, but I also think my videos are mostly tasting videos, right? It's not
Right.
like conversational because it's just one person.
Right.
So I think it's better to communicate that maybe on YouTube. But I think like this, us hanging out and just drinking around the table is probably.
Okay.
It's probably better for like podcast. I mean, I like this. You know, the podcast format's cool, man.
Yeah. No.
Our next step is OnlyFans. I think there might be more money in that.
I could somehow see you starting a channel where people watch you drink whiskey and pay for that.
Well, I'm not going to say the name of the channel, but Alves has the perfect name.
Oh, really?
And he's brought it up before multiple times.
So you and Alves going to start your own side venture there into OnlyFans?
Hey, man.
That's funny.
That could be good.
I
You
can
could
make
do
some
that.
money to afford to pay for this whiskey.
Yeah. So you said you're from Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm from Ohio. Kenny's the odd person out here.
I'm in the minority tonight.
But, one other thing I wanted to ask you about before we get into the thick of it and get to this new bottle that we have to review tonight is, so you've only been doing this now for 4 years? Give me like the highest of high when you're like, man, I may have turned a corner here. Like people are paying attention to me. They're like, yeah, or like not really in the lowest of low, but like a negative, something when you're like, damn, that's rough. Like I remember the first time we got a review that people were like, these guys are terrible, something to that effect. Or like they read the back of the label. They're not really offering me anything new, so I'll probably gonna move on to a different podcast. And I'm glad. I hope that person did move on. But I remember we got that and I was like, oh, that's pretty harsh. I mean, I teach, so it's like I have my students say all kinds of bad things about me. But yeah, when you knew you made it, like kind of moment. What? Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I used my filter just now,
You did?
so you don't have to edit it out.
Oh, thank you.
Just know there's something that I almost said.
Okay, well there you go. Thank you, Kenny. Thanks for showing restraint. Going easy on the editor.
That's funny. So this is kind of a funny story, and Kenny might know about this. I don't know. YouTube people, if you watch YouTube videos, you will know about this.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Is it the debacle?
Which,
The ECBP?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I talked about you on our podcast.
Yeah.
About that.
So
we got to go back and listen.
I forgot which episode
He
it
may have
was.
not said anything nice. I don't know what
I forgot
episode
which
it was.
episode it was.
I'll
No,
try
it
to-
wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad, but go ahead. Yeah.
So,
Please.
well, I don't know if this is the positive or the negative, actually.
It might be both,
It
right?
might be both.
Hey, any publicity they say, right?
Well, and so a lot of people thought. Let me just rewind and just
Yeah,
say
yeah.
what
Please.
this whole thing was.
You know what? Yes,
Great.
because honestly, a lot of our listeners might not even know about that.
Right, yeah.
There was a rumor that went around with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch C923 back in, I guess this would have been the end of 2023 then. And the debacle happened in January, I think, of 24 or just about there. So that the laser codes on C923 signified something different because they tasted different between two sets of laser codes. And at the time, I didn't even know what the laser codes meant. I figured it had to do with the bottling dates, but I didn't know how to decode what they meant. So that original post came off of a breakingbourbon.com review of C923. So I think it was probably an anonymous poster, and I read it, and I was like, I wonder if there's something to that.
Okay.
And so I went home and I looked at my laser code, and the one that I had, which I had reviewed somewhat unfavorably, was A22.
Okay, that's not a crime, though, to review that batch unfavorably, because we were kind of critical of it, too. But go ahead.
And so I looked at it, A22, and everybody had said A22 is one code and A23 is another. Well, come to find out that is not the truth.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that it's actually A and then 3 digits, and those 3 digits represent which day of the year it was bottled on. So if it's 222, it's the 222nd day of the year.
Okay.
If it's 233, the 233rd day, and that would be an 11-day difference in bottling from tank to bottle.
I got you.
So if you look at the various codes that came out, there's a whole range of them. It spans like 2 weeks of bottling. I mean, they bottled that batch for a long time.
Right.
Well, dude, at the time, I was getting like 1,000 views.
I
Like
thought you were onto
2,000.
something too. You're like, oh,
Well, no.
I'll break this.
Actually, not at all.
Really?
Yeah.
100% not at all.
Okay.
Because I had never had anything go, I mean, it didn't go viral. It was like 10,000 views or something. It's not crazy. But for me at the time, it was a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a full blown virus for me.
Well, we don't need to talk about them. That's what the OnlyFans is for, Kenny.
Yeah.
So I made the video just not thinking anything of it. I'm like, I'll just do what's going on with EC 923.
Right.
And I posted it, and someone sent me a sample of the other laser code. I'm using air quotes for people listening.
Right.
And in the video, I was like, I detected difference in this, but like, it's not blind. And I used the word, this is the kicker right here, micro batches.
Okay.
Because I was trying to describe the phenomenon of what it would, like, how in my head can I relate what I'm tasting between these two very different bottling dates? And I'm like, I guess it's like micro batches, and that stuck to me and the channel, and I will forever carry that with me. But at this point, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Laser codes and micro batches. But I did a couple follow-up videos to try to like be more specific about what was going on with all of that. So anyways, Heaven Hill emailed me.
They did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. And it was like boilerplate, like the stuff that they should do as a company.
Right.
Assuring there's no quality control issues.
Right.
Totally understandable. But the bourbon nerd in me, was curious about this. And we've blinded a lot of people with those various laser codes.
Right.
And it could be the power of suggestion. There have been triangle blinds that have happened. And I'm not alone in saying that I thought there was a difference. I think what bothered me about it, besides the horrible comments I got, because we're talking lowest of lows.
Right.
Yeah, it got me views. I don't really care about that.
I got you.
You guys probably know, like, it's easy to get views and listens if you're intentionally inflammatory or use clickbait titles on YouTube.
Right.
My track record up to this point is that I've probably done 3 videos ever that are clickbait. You know what I mean? Out of 300.
Right.
So when people are like, you're just a clickbaiter, I'm like, well, fair. Like, if you want to say that on this video, that was never my intent.
Right.
I didn't know it was going to get the kind of blowback it did, but I was called every name in the book. And
Dang,
so
man.
I took that to my wife and I showed her, and like, I mean, I had a rough few weeks, dude. It's really weird when that happens,
dude.
Especially people that are friends of yours that you think are friends of yours.
Well,
that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Dang, dude, that's
But it's so funny to look back on it now.
Yeah.
And I think I've gotten a much larger shield, like mental shield against hateful YouTube comments. But that was kind of a funny moment for the channel where the viewership spiked, and I'm like, well, that's cool, but also I feel like crap now. So
right. No, and you know what's interesting? I had seen a handful of your videos prior to that, but that one was the one where I was like, I didn't, there's so many whiskey YouTube channels and everything. And so I remember when that started circulating that I knew it was something was going on, because other people who usually aren't watching YouTube whiskey videos are sending me that, right? They're like, hey, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? And so a lot of people were doing that with that particular video. And I think it circulated amongst our friends. We did talk about it briefly on the podcast. I don't remember what we said. But at that time, we had put a review out on C923 saying we didn't think it was even the best of the bunch that year.
And most of us picked the B523 blind over the C923.
Right.
I did too, actually, after the fact, weirdly.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And so we were already facing a little bit of people going like, oh, this is crazy. Like, everyone's giving C923s rave reviews. They're still paying $150, $175 for it on secondary. So that kind of, I'm not going to lie, that stoked it a little bit for me, because then I was like, well, if he's right and there is some kind of difference between these, even if Heaven Hill says there's not, and a lot of other people have said there's not, I thought maybe we tasted one that was the same thing, that just wasn't as good as something else that somebody else was tasting. But you know,
this is not something that is unique to C923. I mean, there have been rumors for years of Russell's 13, of good bottles, bad bottles, and you hear this stuff all the time. And I mean, unless you can quantify it with something, let's say like a laser code,
right,
then it's kind of like it could be completely subjective. Or, I mean, if you think about it, in these giant tanks that you have where you're blending however many tens of thousands of gallons,
right?
I don't know if those tanks are constantly churning. You know what I mean? It's like over the course of 2 weeks, you're getting air in the tank. Stuff is probably going to drift a little bit. That's probably just part of the process.
I mean,
and
I don't see how that you can control every single aspect of it, but yeah.
And to me, it's just like, it was funny while it lasted, and now I people are like, aren't you going to do a laser code video for this batch? And it's like, shut up. It is funny. But
we so for that, I had referenced, I just saw one of the walkback videos that you did, where I guess after Heaven Hill emailed you or whatever. But what I told everybody on that podcast, on our podcast about the B versus the C, is because I saw all kinds of plays. Like, it wasn't just you. I mean, I saw that was everywhere.
Yeah.
And I said, to me, and I would bet money on it, it's just that you had so many websites, YouTube reviews of how amazing the C923 was. And that's the first ECBP that out the gate had a crazy secondary. Because at least here locally, ECB, and even not just locally on natty boards, ECBP was 69, 79 at retail, and it would be 90 to 95 at secondary, and that was it.
Yeah.
This one came out the gates at 175, 225, 200 or whatever, because it was the first of the non 12-year age stated, and it was what 13 years 6 or something. So what I thought, which I still think this is just that people were looking for a justification as to why it wasn't off the charts amazing, like all these places were saying it was, and they were pissed they spent $175 to $225 versus waiting for it at retail or grabbing it for $100 or whatever. So, because that's the thing. I mean, for a lot of us, the B523, which you can still get now for $90, beats that in a blind for a lot of people. So
yeah, that is interesting.
Now for Russell's 13, the quote unquote batch 4 and batch 5 are actually 100% the exact same batch, just bottled a couple months apart.
Yeah.
So there really was batch 1, there really was batch 2, there really was batch 3. The quote unquote 4 and 5 is actually just 4.
Okay. But it does make sense to me, though. Like, flavor drift is going to happen just a little bit in a situation like that. And I don't think it's anything to freak out about. I think with the C923 thing, it was probably the first time we had thought about it widespread as a bunch of
and I think people were looking because they were looking for an excuse to be like, why did I pay $200 when these other batches I've got for $75 to $90 taste just as good?
Let me ask you a question real quick about this, because I do have one thing that's been said, and I don't know how I feel. Well, I think I know how I feel about this, but I want to know from your perspective. I'm a whiskey dork, like total nerd. I don't know how you guys would classify yourselves.
I class myself as a whiskey nerd. That's why I jumped in. I just love it. I fell in love with it, dude. Like, I fell in love with it. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't say I'm as nerdy as Kenny is. I'm close to it. I'll call myself a whiskey pessimist.
So that's the setup, because I had a lot of people saying, like, with the C923 thing, which I think is a really weird attitude. People that are reviewers and stuff like this, and they write about whiskey or whatever, and they're like, well, it's good whiskey, just enjoy it. And I'm like, they're like, stop trying to dissect it. And my question is like, but that's what we do. We like to kind of nerd out about this.
Right.
And if there is a difference,
right,
like every other thing that you say is about the differences in whiskeys.
Yes.
But now suddenly you're saying just enjoy good whiskey. I've always that attitude to me felt very reductive. But anyways,
and we even talked about that. And it might have been on Dan and Sean's episode they were on. We talked about transparency, and us being a whiskey nerd, we love transparency.
Right.
So we love finding out if that really was a real thing. Boom, I'd love to find out about it.
Right.
Same reason why, we love the age statement with Ben Holiday. They have like a list of what came from exactly what location and just everything. I just love the whiskey nerd side of all of the little intricacies like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and I kind of think if you take the approach of like, oh, it's just good whiskey so you can enjoy it. Well, like, first of all, we've talked about one of the main reasons that we created this podcast was because we were the people who were going to the store and buying everything. Like, oh, I'm going to try this because it's new. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. We always advocate sometimes people trying to skip that phase of their whiskey because of their pursuit of like whatever they're trying to get next that's amazing. And so, I mean, having had that happen so much where I tried so many bad things, that's the whole point of what we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
It's good whiskey, it's bad whiskey, but then there's nuance to it, right? I mean, I'm not just going to continue to buy the same thing over and over again, especially if there's going to be variation, it's not good. I mean, that's why we exist in this space, right?
You got certain websites that say everything's
Everything's
good.
good, right?
Everything is good.
That stuff drives me nuts.
That's why they started this initially.
Yeah, everything can't be.
And that's why I started blinding stuff.
Can't be good.
I wanted to remove the price tag, the marketing, the label, remove all the stuff out of it.
I think it's great, man. I think it's great to have you here tonight.
What was your high though? That was your low. We didn't get to this high.
Oh, the high's easily starting to do do picks.
Dude,
I always wanted to do this. I never thought I'd get to the point where I'd be able to, because like again, my channel, it's like it's been slow growing for 4 years,
right?
And we're only at like 10,000 now, which I recognize is a lot of followers, but at the same time, when you look at the bigger channels, it's a drop in the bucket,
right?
But I always say we went deep and not wide for the first 4 years. Like our Patreon numbers are disproportionately high and very engaged for the size of the channel that we have, which has allowed us to do barrel picks at like kind of at a number of subscribers that doesn't make a lot of sense, like
that's good.
That's awesome.
So we started doing those in March with River Roots, and so they've been like the biggest supporters of the channel as far as that goes. And now we're going to places like Green River and like some of the places that people really want, picks from. And it's been a really cool journey, man.
That's awesome.
And you get to meet more people doing picks. Like you get to bring your subscribers with you, and like everybody hangs out and bottle shares in the hotel afterwards and goes to dinner. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. I love it. That's
that's the high.
Man.
He gets to do more barrel picks than I do, but I've gotten to do more.
Yeah, I was at Old Louisville last week. We were at Turkey the week before. Coming up next week, I'm going to Four Roses.
Dang, that's so cool.
And I've got, I got to pull it up because I was looking at my schedule. I'm trying to look at it. Or trying to get myself lined out.
I just can't figure out how many barrel picks I have. Look at my calendar.
I got an Old Forester coming up.
You can hire Kenny to come do your barrel picks for you.
There you go. He would gladly.
You have to get on his Calendly and set a time.
I mean, I don't have like an Alves calendar. Don't get me wrong. Jeez. I'm like, hey, dude, you want to come over and have some pizza? Let me look and see. Yep, 3 Sundays from now, I've got a 4-hour window. I can schedule in there. The boy's busy, man.
Yeah,
he stays nonstop.
Yeah. Every time I text him, he's like, "I'm going to barrel pick."
Yeah,
it's funny.
He's awesome though.
But I think I don't know about you guys, but I think like the highs for me are always people centric, and the low. It's funny. The low is when I got the most subscribers. It's like it's so not about the numbers, and it's just so about the hangs. And
no, I just got a message when I was at my mom's birthday dinner, and I got a message from somebody up in Georgetown that listens to our podcast that said, "Big fan, been listening for a long time. Every time you guys mention one of the local stores here," he's like, "that always gets me going because I love those guys." And I'm like, for real, we go back and forth a little bit. And I'm like, that's happening a lot now. That's like constant where people are reaching out to us and we get a chance to dialogue with them. And hopefully it'll be in-person meetups and other things like that for us too in the future,
Yeah, I mean, which for us, we're still very small, but we are growing. But it's so humbling, dude, having like people that actually listen, care about it, have feedback, they want to interact with them. Like that's pretty awesome, man.
Still can't figure out when anybody cares about what I have to say about whiskey, but
no, I can't either. I really can't either, man. So
I always walk into those jokes with you, man. Always.
Speaking of people talking nice,
yes,
do we have a review?
We do. So this review was entitled "For Everyone," and it was left for us by Muni Guy, which leads me to believe might be somebody up. The Muni Guy sounds like they could be like a municipal stadium, Anyway, this is a 5-star review, and he said, "Whether a geek or amateur, you'll get plenty of laughs and learn a thing or two." That was a review left to us again by Muni Guy on 8/27/24 on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate that. And as you guys know, if you would like a shout out, please leave us a review, 5-star preferred, and we'll get to it. We have about, I think, 6 or 7 there. That we got to get to, a couple on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for cracking the code, Nick, on Spotify. We're getting more Spotify comments and reviews now, so we'll be reading those as well. We even had email. We got email coming in, Kenny.
Email.
We had email, and we had a lot of Instagram comments. So there's a lot of things to get to.
I got a fax the other day. It was in like cutout newspaper letter.
All right. Well,
I'm excited about the bottle tonight.
I'm excited too. So
because it has some sentimental, emotional behind it,
Yeah,
it's emotional for you specifically, but I think for
a little for me, for a lot of other people that have been to whiskey for a long time.
Right. So we're going to get to that story here in a second. But the bottle we have tonight is the Wild Turkey Jimmy Russell 70th anniversary bottle. This is coming to us from the Wild Turkey Distillery in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. The bottle date is 2024. The ABV is 50.5. The proof is 101. The mash bill is 75% corn,
13% rye, and 12% malted barley.
Thank you, Cam. What's the laser code in this bottle?
I was going to ask.
What's the laser code? That's right. What the MSRP is $50. We got this from the distillery. I don't know what the laser code is. We'll pass that to Cam. He's probably the expert on it.
Let me get my magnifying glass out.
Get your
my monocle.
Get you a pour there. But the nice thing is when this bottle released, so as you guys that have been listening to the podcast know that we had the episode with Bruce Russell and Bourbon Junkies and Ryan Alves. And in that episode, it ended with Bruce sort of signposting that this was on the horizon. And he told us that it was to commemorate, of course, Jimmy's 70th anniversary at the distillery, which was September 10th, 2024. And so we were all trying to figure out when this was going to drop at the gift shop. And we heard that there was a ceremony of sorts and like an employee-centric day for September 10th where they released some bottles and employees got them and they had like a little celebration for Jimmy. And then the actual bottle dropped on September 11th at the gift shop. I went out there with Jason Hale, good friend of the podcast, Kenny, you went out there with Alves, right?
I went out with Alves, kind of fortunately and unfortunately.
Okay. You have to tell me a second. But the coolest thing was I got my parents. My parents came out and joined for the release, and no, they weren't buying bottles for me to go sell somewhere. They were buying bottles for my brothers because my brothers wanted a bottle each. So.
Nice.
Yeah. But you sold me that one.
Yeah, there we go.
$200.
Lies.
And if it's the wrong laser code, man.
Well, if this isn't good tonight, then you can buy that. Just kidding. Wrong laser
You're like,
code.
I've got 3 more for you back here. You can try them all.
No, fortunately, because I was with Alves, anytime with Alves was great, and we're actually heading to Old Louisville that day. Unfortunately, because if I was not with Alves, I would have gone back and got a second or third bottle. Just saying.
Well,
Come
Kenny,
on,
how would you have done that?
Oh, somebody carries multiple hats and changes of clothes on the truck, but I didn't want to embarrass Alves. So
I
did
will
not.
just be honest with what we did. So we went in there, we saw it was limit 1, and we were like, come on, there's not enough people here. Because really, there was not a lot of people there. You know, there was probably only about 40 people there at open. We were
Really?
right there. Yeah, right there at the door
wasn't big.
open, 40, 50 people. That's it. So limit 1, we buy our bottles. We're standing around waiting on my parents to show up. And then when they did, I looked at Jason. I'm like, you think they're really going to tell us we can't buy another bottle if we go back in? So, of course, what I do, I went in, I bought a bottle of honey, American honey, the Sting. The Sting.
Yeah.
I picked that up and I grabbed one of these, walked back over to the counter like I knew what I was doing, set them down. I'm like, well, they're selling an extra bottle here, so they can't deny me this other one. So I did double up on release day.
Yeah.
And Jason did the same thing, but that's all we did, and then we left. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But you're also going to drink them too.
I know exactly. Yeah, as we just did. We just
According to
opened
Bruce,
one.
it's a huge release. So they should be hitting the shelves and be kind of about everywhere. You know, so it's one of those things where I was okay getting one because I'll probably be able to pick up another one or two from Liquor Barn or Kroger or somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's not Kentucky only. It's like nationwide.
It's supposed
Should
to
be nationwide.
Oh, cool.
It's one of the biggest drops supposedly in like a long time.
Yeah. So one thing that I want to say right now, and you guys can vibe off this if you want, because I want whiskey that's good whiskey to carry a secondary price. But Bruce said specifically, do not buy this to sell it. Don't try to hoard it because it's going to be a big release.
Yeah.
And then what happens last week when it's released?
Dude,
everyone's selling.
I saw people selling them for $175,
$200 a bottle, and
horrible.
I bought one for $140 because I knew that I wasn't going to get. I didn't think I would. Okay. I
Okay,
thought
please,
it was.
yeah.
I thought it
You
was.
must not listen to the mashup. I mean,
Well, no.
Bruce said, "Don't buy secondary to be everywhere."
Well, I didn't hear that ahead of time. I listened to that the other day.
Okay, all right.
No, I had already bought. I was like, I don't want to pay $150, but I'm like, I don't know where it's going to be released. I didn't look it up or anything. I'm
Right.
like, I thought it would probably be gift shop only, and I never get over there.
Right.
And now I'm like, man, I paid $140 for one of these.
That's all
But,
right. I mean, and I
it's
guess
okay.
that's eventually we'll analyze it. But I want to tell the listening audience this should end up in your market. You should be able to buy it for 50 to. I'm sure some stores will get a little overzealous and probably try to charge close to $100 for it. But like, so it's
$60 hopefully.
It should be there. It should be available to you soon. We just don't know when. And I think the gift shop strategy is they're going to keep releasing it in waves because somebody else went there on Friday and said they got a bottle, but then on Thursday they were apparently sold out. So I don't know if it was available on Friday, but then it was on Thursday or wasn't on Thursday. So I think they're going to probably trickle it out at the gift shop too and keep having it available there for a while.
Probably like a certain number of cases each morning because I saw something on the Facebook page
Right.
that someone got there. I don't know, it was 11-ish and they had just sold out or something. So
Okay.
they may be doing a certain number of cases each day.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
We're going to go in and we're going to nose and taste and whatever all together.
Let's do it all together.
Whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah, that's fine. We can
Usually
just
we
talk.
nose first, talk about it, and taste first. But
Yeah.
You know.
For me, I mean, you guys are, I think both you guys know turkey better than I do, but I think to me, turkey always has like the most classic bourbon profile to it. Nosing wise, I'm getting a little bit of like, I don't want to call it like a oak, obviously, nutmeg, a little bit of caramel. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now. It noses sweet. I don't know.
Yeah, I always get like a cherry cinnamon thing, especially on like 101, kind of these like younger turkey. I mean, this is 8 years old, which is great. I love the age statement.
Right.
But I definitely get that like cherry cinnamon quality to this too. But
Nice.
I think it is just classic.
now the bottle,
Oh yeah, talk about that bottle. We forgot to mention anything about that.
which I pulled a regular Wild Turkey 101 over here, but this one might be a little bit older bottle as well. I'm not sure. But this one's cool where the turkey is actually embossed on the glass.
Okay.
And then down low, it's to say bold, genuine, and true. Is that right?
Yeah, bold, genuine, and true is what it
We're
says.
talking about Jimmy there.
Embossed, yeah, on the
So
bottom.
kind of embossed,
That's
embossed
cool.
turkey and embossed with that.
And I love bottles like this where there's not a lot of label in the way of the whiskey.
Yeah.
Like you can see through it. I love that.
Yeah, because here's a regular one. You've got the big paper label on the front, Wild Turkey 101 Bourbon, big paper label on the back.
Right.
How did they get by without? Oh, okay. They used a small little black sticker, so it's kind of like see-through on the back with all the Surgeon General and everything else.
Yeah, if you're trying to read that, good luck, because you probably go blind there trying to read that, but you don't need to. It doesn't say a whole lot. Well, it does say stuff about Jimmy on there. It says, when you enjoy something, you never work a day in your life. Jimmy Russell, Wild Turkey.
Nice.
There you go. We like to read back of the bottles in our podcast. It's very informative for those people. Yeah.
Read the Surgeon General's warning.
Read the Surgeon General's warning. Do you guys think they should have put a picture of Jimmy on here?
No, I do not.
No? Okay. The reason why is because, did you see the press?
I don't.
Did
Cam
you,
might. I didn't want to speak for both of us.
I don't know.
Did you see the press release photo that they took, though, of him wearing the hat?
That was bad. That was bad
awesome.
photo,
That was a
dude.
badass photo,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
It was
I'll just
cool.
say it. It
Yeah.
was. I mean, I thought to myself, like, that's the kind of thing that if that was on the back of the label, like, I guess you know what I could do if I really want it to be on there? I'll make myself a tater sticker and wear the hat, stick it on there.
Yeah.
But what Bruce was saying about this
Yeah.
is it is honoring Jimmy in his 70th. They want classic turkey taste, affordable. So if they did that, that would jump the price of the bottle up probably a good amount to have like a nice color picture kind of thing on there, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And it wouldn't have been quite as affordable for.
That's true.
That's what they wanted. They wanted an age-stated, affordable whiskey that everybody could enjoy.
What I absolutely can't believe is that when I was reading the full press kit for this, they said Jimmy wasn't even going to work at the distillery until his wife got him to. Did you guys know that?
No.
Yeah, so his wife was the one that was like, he needed a full-time job, so she was like working there as a secretary, and she's like, come over here and work, and he was like, yeah, okay. So we're glad for Jimmy's wife that she actually got him to work at the distillery. Thank you for doing that. The rest is really history, but Kenny, what you were saying about the price of this and them wanting to be available is a big difference from what they've done in the past for previous anniversary bottles, right?
Yeah.
Most of the other Jimmy Russell anniversaries, the Diamond. Wasn't Diamond a Jimmy Russell anniversary
that was
bottle?
So that's all right. So and I'm gonna get this totally wrong, and that's I was gonna say earlier too, Cam. The whole C923 thing would have been great for the mashup because we are a facts optional podcast. Right. We say that all the time. We're facts optional. We get crap wrong all the time. We don't care. Right. But I'm gonna get this totally wrong about all the different ones. But Bruce has told just doing some barrel picks with Bruce, hanging out with Bruce. He's mentioned before that Campari, kept thinking Jimmy was going to retire and stuff. And so that's why you have all these anniversary bottles, is because that was for whatever year, and they thought Jimmy was going to retire, and he's like, he just shows up to work again.
It's funny.
He just shows up to work again.
They're like, I guess we got to do another anniversary bottle.
Yeah, so there's a lot of these anniversary bottles really were thinking that he was done.
Yeah.
And he just showed back up to work again. So he's like, I'm not quitting.
That's amazing.
It's awesome, man. It's really cool.
There's that picture.
Dude, that picture.
I've not seen that.
That is so.
That's a killer picture.
That is so gangster.
All right. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's killer. I mean,
All right.
it's a great picture.
I'll pay another $1.83 for this bottle.
That's an all-time headshot.
Oh,
I think.
man.
All right, so I guess we do need to print that off and just
Stick
get
it
a
on
sticker
there.
made and print it in our bottles.
Tater
yeah.
bottles. There you go.
When next pick that you do, you can just AI your face onto his face, put it on the back of whatever your next pick is.
Oh man,
A little citrusy on the palate, more than the nose, I think, for me.
Yeah, I'm picking up almost a little bit of is that like a orange citrus almost?
Yeah, I think so.
I poured myself regular 101
Yeah.
next to this. This is way more rich and bold.
Is it?
Way more, yeah. So that it's
Also
even
getting like a really
multiple layers of sweetness versus
Yeah.
just like a normal honey or caramel sweetness. You're getting more layers.
And
fruit kind of sweetness in
I
that.
miss this note a lot, but I think I'm not going to miss it tonight. I think it's brown sugary sweetness in this, along with the citrus, for sure. When I say I miss it, sometimes I mistake caramel and brown sugar, but this is like brown sugar sweetness. Oh, regular 101. Should I try that
Yeah,
experiment
try it if
here?
you want.
Why not?
I think it's good.
Coming down.
I mean, I think they're both good, but I think that's
Oh yeah, this is a total upgrade.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
totally.
and
Now-
there's more youth on the regular, which there should be.
What is regular 101? Is it $30?
I think
Yeah.
20, 25.
Might be
Is
cheaper
it?
than that.
Okay.
Real quickly, 8-year 101. There's a Japanese version of this, right?
Yeah.
Currently, like a export 8-year 101, and then there's older 8-year 101 too, right? That used
Now,
to
is there a
be.
current Japanese export 8101 or just
There is.
Because I know there's a current. There's that 12 year.
Yeah, no, there's a current 8-year 101 Japanese export.
Okay.
I don't know what they go for though.
Yes, I don't either.
I thought they were around $100. I could be wrong, but yeah, definitely.
Boys, you know how it goes. Cam doesn't listen to the podcast. But everybody close your eyes. We got a blind.
All right. I got my eyes closed, and I'm waiting for another Kenny Mills blind. Cam, this happens so much, man.
Does it?
Yeah, it's nonstop.
All right.
There'll be times where I come over here thinking, I'm going to taste 2 whiskeys, and I'm going home, and next thing you know, Kenny's blinding like crazy.
Man, please be Wild Turkey Tribute. Please be Wild Turkey Tribute. Please.
Wishful thinking. I'm sure he's got some of those around here, though.
God, I hope it's Blanton's. God, I hope it's Blanton's.
All right, y'all can open now.
Oh, is it that burnt corn sweetness?
Got a clean glass.
Blanton's?
Just pour,
Oh, I got you.
right there. Just pour a little bit into that.
Glass right here.
Just a little blind to go against that.
Okay.
This is blinding against the
Against the 8-year.
8-year.
Yep.
Okay.
Little sweeter on the nose.
Man, I really like the 8-year 101. The tribute bottle is really nice. Trying to blind now, sir.
The blind feels more relaxed, but there's more of a distinct sweetness to it for me. I think more cherry.
It might be more cherry, but there's definitely a spicier, longer finish on the blind, I think.
On the back end, maybe.
The back end, a little bit more. And I'm not quite sure if I like it yet. It's like a peppery, spicy finish on the blind. Of course, I did eat at J. Alexander's. I'm not trying to plug them. It's just I'm incredibly full right now.
J. Alex, is that the place with the crab cakes?
Yeah, and a lot of salt in the food, so my palate could be busted from that. You never know.
Use my filter again. There we go.
Kenny, the whole episode's just going to be you saying, using my filter again, because, keeping you from saying disparaging things about me.
This feels a little bit Buffalo Tracy to me. I think the turkey's actually, for me, it's spicier. I think just all the way through.
Really?
I think there is a little bump on the end of the blind.
Right.
But I think it's I think the blind is maybe a little lower proof. I like the sweetness of it, though.
Yeah, blind lower proof, you think?
Like
I was
93.
I was going to say higher proof.
Really?
Yeah, but that's, you know what?
I'm curious.
Again, didn't have a lot of warm-up.
I don't know.
No, you might be right.
It hits a little different.
You might be right.
So are we trying to say which one we like better? Or
Yeah, you say which one you like better, and it won't take away from or add it. It's a pretty close in some of the stats and things like that. So I wanted to just kind of throw that out there.
So I like your blind. I still like, right now, as we sit here, I still like the tribute better, or anniversary better. Anniversary! 70 freaking years. It's a long time.
Man, that blind. It's almost a little wilderness traily.
It's a little sweeter.
Yeah.
And then to me, it has a longer finish. Like it just kind of keeps hanging.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have some of that spice like the Wild Turkey has. So I'm kind of...
I have to look and see what you had. I'm looking at the shelf, like kind of be able to tell what's absolutely...
So me knowing what they are.
Right.
I still lean probably the Wild Turkey by a hair, but it's like it really kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah.
Because they're just different. It's not really a better or worse, just different.
The turkey is bolder to me, and I like that about it. It holds my attention more.
Yeah.
The other one is a little more crushable.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
But I do like the sweetness of the blind.
I know.
Admittedly, I really like
that's
that.
why to me it's just different.
Yeah.
But so the blind is the New Riff 8-year bourbon.
Wow.
So they're both 8-year,
punching
100
up.
proof versus 101 proof.
Wow.
But this is $50, and the New Riff is $70.
Is the New Riff sweet mash? Because it's got... Is New Riff sweet mash? It's got almost this thing that reminded me of Wilderness Trail.
Okay.
And I associate that note with sweet mash for some reason. I don't know. But
I'm not sure, to tell you the
They're
truth.
sour mash.
Are they sour?
mash,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
They're still freaking...
Man.
We tasted a New Riff 8-year bourbon. That was everybody liked it.
That's good.
And so it's funny. I couldn't pick it out. Cause
Well, the New Riff
8-year
8-year has beat 1924 in 2 blinds for me.
I believe that. I believe it.
Yeah. So the reason I did wanted to do the New Riff 8-year is because 8-year 100 proof, 8-year 101 proof,
Right.
and it's $70. This is $50. I was going to pull the 1924 out because I really think this would beat the 1924, but I didn't want to do that just because it's 10 years old instead. But for me in the blinds, New Riff 8-year beats the 1924. So to me, this was probably also
Yeah.
beat 1924. Maybe.
Yeah.
So it'd be close.
Right there.
Totally different, I think, the two.
Yeah.
But do they do a cast strength of the New Riff 8? Because, oh, man.
I wish.
I
bet
wish,
that would
dude.
be.
No,
that
I
would be-
wish, dude.
Some of New Riff's cask strength 8-year-old stuff, like they did the malted rye. I'm looking for more bottles of that. So please send that my way if you can find
Yeah.
it, because I love that. That was one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
It was.
117 or 118 proof. Oh, killer.
I mean, moral of the story, though, this turkey,
I think it's hanging.
value-wise,
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to, I mean, I wonder how it would hold up to like a Russell's, like an off-the-shelf Russell's single barrel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a pick.
That would actually be.
Proof would be a little different, but
I've definitely had Russell's picks that I do not like as much as this, for sure. It's weird. Sometimes on these Russell's picks, sometimes it's weird. I get like even some kind of like nuttiness. A lot of times it is cherry and that kind of stuff, but like this is for me. But sometimes I've definitely had Russell's picks I don't like as much as that, and they are more expensive.
Yeah, no, this thing's got a lot going on. And one more thing that I don't know if this makes a difference, and it probably does to the turkey people, but I remember Bruce saying this. All the barrels that went into this are all from the Tyrone warehouse, right? Is that correct?
I think I remember reading that.
Yes. So the day we went to get the bottles, Brian and I were talking to Bo for a little bit, and Bo had told us a different rick house,
Really?
but I would believe Bruce over Bo on that. Bo just might have got it mixed up with something else they're doing.
Okay.
But I'm 99% sure he did say Tyrone.
Yeah. Well, I just think that makes a difference, too, because we've talked a lot about how different Russell's Reserve picks, obviously people go crazy for what's kind of where the best barrels seem to be coming out, and that kind of changes over time. And so for them to deliberately pick Tyrone, I thought was pretty interesting, and maybe that adds to the reason this makes this so unique.
Well, Cam, you're going to get your wish.
What's that?
You want to try it against a Russell's pick. I had actually pulled a Russell's pick.
Hey, ask and you shall receive. You're like, wait a minute, did you say we're reviewing one bottle? 13 blinds later.
We're locked in.
Hey, I'd like to try it against 88 CGF. Can I try it against 88 CGF?
You have a donut up there. I see an unopened donut.
There's a few.
That looks a little too sealed.
There's a few of them.
Right. We need to get the air in that bottle. It's been asking for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you can smell the age. I mean, if there is an age difference, you can smell a refinement difference, I would say. Russell's more refined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this Russell's pick, 60?
I like this Russell's pick a lot more.
Yeah, I like it a lot more. But this is also a pick. So,
Yeah.
like, off the shelf, maybe it'd be more comparable. But
Yeah.
this pick, I think, kind of,
Kind of crushes it.
yeah.
But
But that's,
this is one of their nicer picks, though. Try that, Anthony.
All right.
So, I mean, this one I thought would crush it.
Oh, wow. That's got like, there's like an amped up like honey sweetness to that.
Oh, dude, it's
just
crazy, yeah.
insane.
yeah, it's a little buttery almost.
Yeah, buttery. That's a good way to put it. That's really, really good.
Yeah, that's a Russell's pick known as 2003.
Is that Russell's 03?
That's Russell's 2003.
You son of a bitch.
Here you go.
Here I am saying buttery sweetness. Flaky buttery crust.
It's amazing.
That's a Kenny move. Kenny, when he
Russell's
pulled me aside in
2003.
the circle of death, and he goes, "So I got this Buffalo Trace pick for you."
Oh, yeah.
He poured something for me that was definitely not a Buffalo Trace pick.
Oh, my God, dude.
Let him up with some hazmat, some 20-something-year-old hazmat. It was good.
That's second week in a row now you've done something like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
There
All right,
you
I'll
go.
close my eyes, and you can go get another Russell's pick, also known as Tribute.
Export or domestic?
Oh, my God.
Is there a difference?
That's amazing.
101 proof on the domestic, 110 proof on the export. The export's fire, bro.
Wow.
That's my favorite. Wow. That and the 17-year are my two favorite to go back and forth with winning in blinds.
Those are bucket list pours for me.
Yeah, man, they're awesome.
So, gentlemen, would you pass, try, or buy on this bottle of Wild Turkey, Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
8-year 101. We'll do, since you're the guest, sir, you lead us off. Cameron's going first.
Is that a buy
here.
now that you've tasted it?
It's a buy.
Okay.
Yeah, at SRP. To me, no markup on this. You
Yeah.
know, I think it's priced appropriately.
Yeah. Like I would do, which I'm going to be a buy as well. $50 is what it was at distillery. If I can see it at the store for $60 maybe, I might, because Liquor Barn somewhere, Total Wine will probably mark it up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But $50 to $60, I think it's very good. It's one of those things too. If you are a turkey guy, you have to have this.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's a sentimental value of it as well. So yeah, I'm gonna buy it retail, like Cam said, up to maybe $60 because that's what it'll probably end up at a lot of the stores at.
Right. And I'm not going to say anything else earth shattering here. I'm going to say it's a buy for me as well. It actually is elevated over regular 101 for any skeptics that are out there. We did pour it against regular 101 and it does blow it out of the water. So I will definitely try to find a couple more of these. And I think that, I can't see any reason why anybody wouldn't like this. I mean, it's excellent. 50, I'd say even maybe $75, given the fact that it's an anniversary bottle and that could have like that little sentimental type of value for whiskey collectors and for turkey heads. So I could see going up to $75, but 150 to 200, nope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cam had a great point though too. So this is 8 years, and my guess, and I thought I heard this, but maybe I did not, because I was fully saturated that day. We were hanging out with Bruce.
Fully saturated.
That's my new thing, bro. I was fully saturated. Like
That's
a sponge,
cool.
like
I
a
like
sponge
that.
can't. You pour water on it, the water just goes away because the sponge.
Yeah.
I was fully saturated.
Put it on a
that day.
T-shirt, dude.
Yeah, it was. I thought this was like even a blend of 8 and 9 year.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Russell's pick nowadays are 8 to 9, 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 101 proof versus 110, but probably not too far off from a Russell's pick, man, at $20-$30 less.
When you said fully saturated a second ago, I just can't. I can rewind and listen to that part. And I'm sorry I didn't take it out of the podcast when we did the one with Bruce and everybody. When you were talking about Sean getting out of the car, you're like, you jumped out of the freaking car. You like said it. You were so upset with him. I could listen to that over and over again because
I was laughing when I said it.
You were laughing
I was
so hard
not
when you
upset.
said it, and it was so funny.
But it was fun.
Yeah, but anyway, fully saturated. That's a new term
my new thing,
coming
man.
at you.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, because it is Bourbon Heritage Month and it is bourbon release season, what is the one thing that you guys are hoping to get this season? If you could pick one special release and only one that you could get at retail, what's it going to be? I always love to ask this.
For me, King of Kentucky.
Yeah. I haven't seen a label for it this year, although maybe they're not going to do a new label. You know what I mean? Maybe it's still going to be 16.
Now, if they don't have King of Kentucky, I usually always want GTS, but the last couple of years have been good, but not like amazing. So I would have to go, if they don't do King of Kentucky, honestly, that new Parker's, man.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Dead
one
serious.
that I've never, we haven't tasted it yet, but I'm so excited for is the OGD 16 year.
Oh, yeah.
That, and I haven't heard about like when it's going to release. I think it's going to be like, someone told me November, but facts optional here, right? So
That's right.
Let's say November,
Yep.
probably, maybe. I have no idea, but I'm
I heard
excited
that,
for that.
I heard that actually has some 25-year-old juice in it.
Oh,
Sign
you
me
kidding
up.
No, I'm teasing. It's facts optional.
You did it again. son of a gun.
I got to leave. I'm out of here. You got me so stoked.
Oh, man. Well, I'm actually just hoping that I can get myself a Blanton's Gold. I'm just kidding.
For you, what would it be? William LaRue or some Old Fitz? Or what?
Yeah, I mean, the Old Fit stuff, I'm always...
Anthony's a weeder guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huge weeder guy.
That 13. Do you like the 13?
The Fitz 13? Oh, yeah.
No, I love the
dude.
new fit. I love the new 13.
Unreal.
He still likes the 15 better.
Well,
That's
here's
a
the
great
thing.
one.
Here's the thing. We had some gentlemen in town from Michigan. That was John and Keegan, right?
Keegan. Yep.
Yeah.
John and Keegan. They're actually in for the festival.
Yeah.
So from Michigan. So
We had them taste the 15 and 13, and
the 15's great.
the 15 is good.
It's better than I gave it credit for.
Yeah. But I if it's going to be BTAC for me, I'm probably going to say William LaRue Weller because I somehow always find my way into a GTS, and I'm extremely fortunate to be able to do that. But William LaRue Weller is a lot less that I can find. So,
Use your Total Wine discount on that GTS.
you son of a gun. Well, yeah, William LaRue Weller or King of Kentucky, and then man, I have to say too that Parker's. So I made a bad error on that Parker's. We did a podcast on it, and I said, because people are not really warming up to malt as fast as I think they are. I'm like, I could see people like not going crazy for this, and maybe
It's in the secondary, freaking like fire.
It's like 650,
Like
700,
750, yeah,
750.
750, dude.
And I'm over here thinking like maybe people will pass on it because it's malt whiskey. No, they're not going to pass on that. If anything's an early indicator, that's going to be the one that's going to be hard to get. But yeah. Hey, we all can dream, right?
Yeah, I have to probably pay secondary for one, I guess. I need at least one.
Well, if you can't if you can't get the bottle that you want this fall during the release season for retail, you can always hopefully find this Wild Turkey Jimmy Russell's anniversary bottle.
Hey, we'll tell you something that's coming soon.
What was that?
My newest Old Louisville pick.
Oh, come on.
I'm bottling it in about a week and a half. Actually, once the episode drops, I'll be bottling it probably that week.
Okay, so make sure you guys hit up Kenny through social media, ask him all kind of questions, how you get that bottle.
That's right. It's good. The nose crushes the nose on the old one, but the nose crushes about any nose I've had lately. It's one of the best nosing whiskeys.
You were saying it's a 4-year 95.5 rye.
Oh my god,
that's what you're saying, right?
Killing me, Smalls.
80. You proofed it down to 82 just for a little extra bump.
There you go.
It's, Cam's learning. Cam's learning quick.
Oh my god. That was great.
So even Alves and Amin both talk about the nose just being stupid off the charts. So it was. It's a little over 11 and a half years old now. So I'm very excited for that.
Nice. Well, before we get out of here, Cam, tell everybody where they can find you. Just give us one more to lead us out here.
Yeah.
So that everyone can know where to find you for your channel and everything.
Yeah. Just look up Drums and Drams on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And then Instagram, we do the Patreon thing with barrel picks and all that. But YouTube is the place.
Cam's a good dude.
Thanks, man.
I've been hanging out with him now 2 or 3 times, 4 times maybe. Really good dude.
Well, it's awesome chatting with you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Boom.
Absolutely. Boom.
And with that, thanks for listening to this episode. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also,
head on over to our partner, the Woodwork Collective, at woodworkcollective.shop. Enter code MASHUP for a 15% discount.
let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.